A thoracic oncologist at an academic medical center speaks at our event. She presents for 45 minutes, answers questions. We pay her an honorarium. What should that honorarium be? The answer isn't what we think she's worth. The answer isn't what a competitor is paying. The answer is fair market value, FMV. FMV is the compensation that would be agreed upon by a willing buyer and a willing seller in an arm's-length transaction when neither is under compulsion to act. In pharma, companies determine FMV for physician speakers using independent third-party rate surveys, benchmarking against specialty, academic credentials, years of practice, and regional market norms. The result is a rate card. A community oncologist might be at one tier, an academic KOL with NCCN panel membership at another. The honorarium must fall within the FMV band, not at the top of the band. Within it, why does this matter so much? Because paying a physician above FMV for a speaking engagement, especially one linked to their prescribing of your drug, looks exactly like a kickback. The Department of Justice has prosecuted companies for inflated speaker fees as anti-kickback violations. Physicians have faced False Claims Act liability. I don't set speaker fees. That's compliance's job. My job is to understand why the rate is what it is and never promise a physician more than what's been authorized. Fair market value, FMV definition. The compensation level that reflects what a willing buyer and willing seller would agree to at arm's length. The standard used to set honoraria for physician speakers, advisory board members, and consultants in the pharmaceutical industry. FMV rate cards. Companies establish FMV rate tiers using independent third-party valuation firms, e.g., Bain, BDO, or specialized life sciences consultancies, that survey market rates by physician specialty, academic credentials, geographic market, and role. Rate cards define the permissible honorarium range. Anti-kickback statute implications. Compensation above FMV for services that correlate with prescribing volume can be prosecuted as illegal remuneration under the federal anti-kickback statute. The DOJ has settled multiple cases, e.g., Warner-Chilcott, Avenir, where inflated speaker fees were characterized as kickbacks. False Claims Act. When above FMV speaker payments influence prescriptions of drugs reimbursed by Medicare or Medicaid, there is potential liability under the False Claims Act, including treble damages and per-claim penalties. Both the company and the individual physician can face exposure. Reps' role in FMV. Sales representatives cannot negotiate, promise, or suggest honorarium amounts to physician speakers. All FMV determinations are made centrally by compliance or the Speaker Bureau. A rep who implies a higher fee as an inducement has potentially created personal anti-kickback liability. The event is in 6 weeks. The work starts now. Week 1, venue selection. The PHRMA code is clear. The venue must be appropriate for education. A private dining room at a good restaurant, acceptable. A golf club, a resort, a sporting event venue, not acceptable. The meal must be modest, not extravagant, not the point. I submit the venue for compliance review through agentforce. Budget approval follows. Every dollar is tracked. Week 2, invitations. I can only invite healthcare professionals with a genuine interest in the clinical topic. No spouses, no office managers unless they're directly involved in patient care decisions. Guest list gets submitted and documented. Some programs have minimum and maximum attendee caps. Week 3, confirming the speaker. Dr. Patel's schedule is confirmed. Her speaker agreement is signed. The approved slide deck is sent to her for review. She cannot modify it. Travel arrangements if needed, booked through approved vendors, documented as a transfer of value. Week 4, materials. The approved slide deck. Patient case handouts if included, fair balance materials, the sign-in sheet, everything reviewed and stamped by the PRC. If it hasn't been through the PRC, it doesn't go in the room. Week 5, reminder outreach to confirmed attendees. Week 6, final logistics check. Room confirmed. AV confirmed. Meal confirmed. Agentforce event record complete. The night of the event is 30% of the work. The other 70% happened in these 6 weeks. Venue appropriateness under PHRMA code. The 2019 PHRMA code requires that venues for speaker programs be conducive to the educational purpose of the event. Appropriate restaurant settings are acceptable, but entertainment venues, golf courses, resorts, sporting venues, spas, are prohibited. The educational purpose must be primary. Meal modesty standard. PHRMA code requires that meals at speaker programs be modest by local standards and not provided to non-HCP guests. Extravagant meals, entertainment, or social events not tied to education are prohibited. Invitation compliance. Invitations must go to HCPs with a legitimate clinical interest in the topic. Non-HCP guests, spouses, administrative staff without clinical roles cannot be included. Attendee lists must be documented and retained. Speaker agreement. The legal contract between the pharmaceutical company and the physician speaker, covering honorarium amount at FMV, approved content scope, confidentiality, and compliance obligations, must be signed before any program. PRC stamp requirement. No materials, slides, handouts, invitations, leave-behind pieces may be used at a promotional event unless they have been reviewed and approved by the Promotional Review Committee with a current approval stamp. Using unapproved materials at a field event is a compliance violation. A physician asks if she can bring her husband. A practice manager wants to come, he handles referrals. A rep from a sister product line wants to sit in. A nurse practitioner asks if the invitation includes her PA colleague. Every one of these is a compliance decision. Here's how the invitation list actually works. Who can be invited? Healthcare professionals with a genuine clinical interest in the topic. Physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, pharmacists, nurses if the content is clinically relevant to their role. The educational need for each attendee must be documentable. Who cannot be invited? Spouses, partners, or guests with no clinical role. Administrative staff without patient care responsibilities. Purchasing or procurement staff, even if they influence formulary. Anyone whose presence would suggest the event is social rather than educational. Internal attendees, only reps with a legitimate reason to be present. Sales management observation requires prior approval. The event cannot be used as internal training. The cap. Programs often have a maximum attendee number. Large groups can undermine the educational character of an event and start to look like something else entirely. Every name on that list gets logged in agentforce. Every attendee who signs in is a transfer of value, a meal. An honorarium, that will appear on the open payments database within the year. The invitation list isn't an RSVP sheet. It's a compliance document. HCP attendance qualification. PHRMA code requires that all attendees at promotional speaker programs be healthcare professionals with a genuine interest in the clinical information being presented. The educational relevance of each attendee's participation must be justifiable. No guest rule. Non-HCP guests, spouses, personal guests, administrative staff without clinical responsibilities may not attend PHRMA code-compliant speaker programs. Their presence transforms the event from an educational activity into entertainment. Purchasing/procurement staff exclusion. Even though pharmacy directors and purchasing staff influence formulary decisions, they cannot attend promotional speaker programs unless they have a direct clinical role. Their inclusion could suggest commercial rather than educational intent. Internal attendance governance. Sales representatives and managers attending programs must have a legitimate reason, e.g., rep is organizing the event. Programs cannot be used as internal training sessions, and attendance by multiple internal staff requires justification. Open payments disclosure. All meals provided to individual physicians at speaker programs are reportable as transfers of value under the Physician Payments Sunshine Act, published by name on CMS's Open Payments database. Each attendee's meal value, the event date, and the nature of the payment are publicly disclosed.